Yeah, so she's legally blind. That's the only reason I think
Is
she's
with you.
attracted to me anyway. Yeah.
Is that why the gun was sighted in like 10 feet off at 50 yards?
Yeah, man, I don't she must have been a terrible shot with her first one because as far off as it was, it dropped in its tracks that first one at 30 yards that she shot. And then we
Yeah, because
resighted it in and yeah, this far, I mean my hands won't even fit in the screen. This far
yeah,
off at
but
50 yards.
what you're not describing is she was shooting at the deer 10 feet to the right and she hit
Yeah,
the other
yeah,
one.
yeah. That's right. Yeah, she hit the wrong deer.
Right.
But luckily
Well,
this
hey, man,
time it was sighted in because I sighted in off the back porch at the house and
there you go.
this time there was only one deer per time when she shot, so she dropped both of them in their tracks and she meant to shoot that deer.
Oh, well, thank God for that.
All is good in the world now. I'm getting glared at really hardcore right now.
That's because she can't see you, though.
Yeah, because she's blind.
Well, hey, man, Happy New Year. It's the first podcast of 2025. We've been trying to get this thing up for a couple weeks now. I know you've been doing a lot of hunting. You had the youngins up there. I know I just got back from the farm a couple days ago, and I think Zane and I were in the woods pretty much every day, and that dude is absolutely addicted now, which is
Hooked now, ain't
fantastic.
he?
My God. Not only is he hooked, but he comes home and he says, "Daddy, are we going to have some of that deer ground for dinner again?" I was like,
There's not
"Yeah,
much
we
of
can
a
have
better
it."
feeling, is there?
There really isn't. I mean, that's why we do it, right? I mean, I there's antlers on the wall. It's my rattling antlers. You know, I got turkey fans, whatever. They're trophies, sure, but at the end of the day, I shoot animals to eat them because they are
Mm-hmm.
absolutely delicious, and you can't find better quality meat, better health benefits from it. I mean, just the list goes on and on. And it's like it's a trope at this point. You know, everybody talks about, oh, venison is the healthiest meat out there. But yeah, okay, fine. The experience, that was the first time Zane was in the woods with me because he's 7. He's never been. I think we talked about this a little bit. He's very much so like a homebody. He likes to be inside. Doesn't like to get dirty. As hard as I try to break him of that habit, because we talked about it last podcast. We're out there kicking rocks and making mud pies and stuff like that, and that's just not his style. And whatever, to each their own. I am telling you right now, that kid every single day. Hey, are we going hunting today? Are we going hunting this afternoon? Are we going hunting in the morning? Are we going out? It's freaking 13 degrees outside. And I'm
But
like,
he's
buddy, are
ready to
you
go.
cold? Sitting on the ground. How are your toes? Are you cold? No, I'm good.
Yeah, because he
I'm
didn't want to
good.
go in.
Right. Exactly. And I'm like, holy crap, this is awesome. And that experience on my end, I didn't have that growing up. And I talk to people like you, I talk to friends, I talk to all manner of people that are like, yeah, man, I learned to hunt from my daddy, I learned to hunt from my granddaddy, blah, blah, blah. I never had that. So seeing him interact that way and kind of he wants to learn. He's like, that's a buck, right? Hey, that's a he doesn't quite know the difference between does and bucks yet, but he was like, I'm sorry, does and doves. He calls them doves. And he was like, is that a dove? And I'm like, no, 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 not dove, doe.
It's not
And
flying fast
and I
enough,
was like,
son.
right, exactly. I was like, but yes, those are does. And he was just, I mean, he was absolutely stoked. But it was a great time. We'll get into that in a minute.
I think I told you that I think it's 7 now. I've been on 7 hunts where the hunter took their first deer, 7 different
Yeah.
people,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's just it's an awesome feeling to be there with them when that happens. So kind of like you taking him out with you for the first time, how awesome it is and how excited he is and how into it he is. But being with somebody when they actually shoot their first one is really exciting too. I can't wait
It's
till you get to
magical,
do it.
man.
Yeah,
It's magic in the woods is what it
you
is.
want to tear up with them.
Absolutely. Last year, I took my buddy and he shot his first deer on the property, and I mean, it was great. It was fantastic. I mean, just seeing how excited he was and how he got to use all that meat and eat it, and he was, I mean, absolutely hooked for life. Like now he's looking at buying property. He wants to do it all on his own. I'm like, good for you, dude. That's fantastic. And Zane's not quite there to where he can reach around a gun. When the 300 went off, admittedly, that was my mistake. It was in an enclosed blind. It
Oh
was.
yeah, loud, huh?
I mean, he had ear pro on. He was plugging his ears, all that stuff. But he was like, that was really loud. I was like, yeah, no shit.
You know, Cade
But
Cade was 6 when he shot his first, and he did it with a crossbow. That short,
that's
stocked crossbow.
Yeah. So
So
I
you
thought
could
I
get him
have
to
a
do that.
300 blackout where the stock folds down, collapses down,
Mm-hmm.
and he can wrap around that, and it doesn't have much of a kick. And
They
I've
only
kind of thought,
people hunt with those all the time. I mean, they set them up for deer hunting, and anything under 100 yards is good. And what you're not going to have him shoot past 50 or 60, I'm sure.
dude, on the farm it probably wouldn't be past. I mean, both the deer that I took up there last week was the longest shot was 25 yards.
Yeah.
The closest shot was at 8,
Yeah.
10, something like that. Paces,
Yeah.
So I mean, it's got a little red dot on it, so that would be easy for him, and just be like, hey, put this dot right there, and bang.
And
So
it don't
I
kick
thought
at all.
about that. No, they really don't. So I've thought about getting like a little pad for it or something,
Mm-hmm.
because he's all skin and bones anyway, and maybe doing something like that, getting him shooting it this upcoming spring, summer, getting him prepped for the next fall. Because oh man, I think I was more excited that he wanted to be out there than I was that I shot the deer.
Yep. Yeah, I love it when my
I
kids
mean,
want to
just
be out there constantly. And, even Emmett, he's autistic and he's 6 years old now, and he's asking every single day that he's here, "I'll go hunting with Daddy. I'll go hunting with Daddy." And it's just, even if we don't get anything, we just go out there and sit and see birds on the other side of the creek or something. It's
yeah,
just awesome to be out there
dude.
with them.
He was sitting out there. He's like, "Dad, look at that bird. It's like 3 feet from my face." I'm like, "Yeah. If you sit still, that's what they do. They come right in." And they're little warblers and Carolina chickadees and all,
Mm-hmm.
titmouses and all that stuff, and they just come right in. And when they start calling and all that stuff, it's like there's that period right after you like scrape the leaves out of the tree and you sit down. You're like half an hour. You're like, all right, the wood's got to settle down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you feel
And
like
then
you've been too loud.
exactly, you really haven't, but you just feel like it. And when all the birds start coming back and they start talking, the crows are calling, you can hear squirrels rustling around.
You can almost feel
You
it. You're
kind of
like, okay, it's about to start happening again.
It's exactly what I was about to say. It's like it's a sense. You're just like, all right, dude, they're about to walk out. And
They
sure as
forgot
shit, man,
about
it's
me.
like exactly. But hey, if I'm having a stroke. If you have listened this long, do us a favor and go subscribe to our channel.
Yeah,
It'll help us out.
the channel we haven't spoke about yet.
We haven't yet. You're right.
We
Hey,
haven't named who we are.
thank you for listening to Stay Elevated Podcast, Stay Elevated Outdoors Podcast. I'm Johnny Tushton.
I'm Kelly Brookins.
Appreciate y'all listening, tuning in, watching on YouTube.
All
Do us a
seven of
favor and all 7 of you. That's right. Do us a favor and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Literally, just it'll pop up in your feed whenever you log into those apps that there's a new podcast that hit, and it helps us when you subscribe and download the recording. So we appreciate that. This is going to be a good one because not only do you get to hear 2 rednecks talk about bullshit for the next hour or so, but I'm going to kind of stitch in an interview that I did with a good friend of mine, Dylan Rutledge, big time turkey hunter, big time deer hunter, goes out to Oklahoma, Missouri. He's got a whole lot of knowledge about those areas. He's got a farm in Alabama, and I'm going to ask you to send me some questions pertaining to it. I'm going to ask him a lot about how he has managed I think he's got like 80 acres between his dad and himself out in Bama, like kind of right on the other side of Eufaula. And they have turned from the first couple years that I knew him, they would have like maybe one shooter buck, and
that
he
lives
runs
on them.
cameras. Right. And he's got to run like 20 cameras out there, 20 or 30 cameras. It's just constant. Like you can't move on that property without getting hit with a camera. And this year he's sending me a shooter buck picture every day. And it's incredible how they have just managed this property to make it just kind of like
Wonder
a
if
big
the people
buck
around him are
haven.
doing more, or if he's just feeding different, or if they've
I don't know.
done some stuff to the property.
That's what
It'd be fun to hear what he's done different. Because,
Yeah,
my place,
and
I've
that's what
only
I'm
got
gonna ask
40
him.
acres between my 2 pieces, and it'd be nice to know.
I know for a fact that he's got something going on with the state and the National Deer Association where they come in and they do burns.
Yeah.
And they have clear cut a lot of areas to make it not so much full canopy, closed canopy areas like that, forested areas. So he's got foresters that go on the property pretty regularly and make sure that it's pretty well set up. So I just want to I want to get into kind of the minutia of like exactly what he's done as far as that's concerned, and how he's done it. And there's several benefits from what I understand for doing that. Like he gets, I don't know if he gets a stipend from the state or something like that, but he definitely gets something to keep hogs off the property, for instance. And I think they give him like money for traps and stuff. So yeah, it'll be a good conversation. So we're gonna stitch that in. Screw it, we'll stitch it in right here. And yeah, boop. All right, we're here with Dylan Rutledge, D Rut. It's been a long time, dude, trying to get you on. I know you're really busy. I appreciate you being here. It's 7 in the morning right now. I know we had planned on doing 5:30, but plans change. It's like 30 degrees outside, so we're both freezing in the shed right now. Real quick, I was just going to give the guys a little rundown, like what your background is. Avid turkey hunter, avid deer hunter. You go out Midwest a lot. I'd like to hit on, some of those things. Big time public land manager in Bama. You've turned your farm around. I remember when we first started talking, you had like one shooter buck. Now you've got like, you're sending me pictures of a shooter buck a day. And how many acres is it?
We got a total of 130 now, but for a majority of the time until last year, we only had about 65.
65 acres. Now you got 130. It's still what I would consider a smaller property.
Yeah.
And you're sending me shooter bucks daily, if I feel like. It's incredible. And what else? Charter captain. Do a lot of scallop trips in the summertime. You're outside pretty much every day. I feel like you're living the dream, basically.
That's right.
Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah. I appreciate y'all having me on, man. Excited. It's a cold morning for Florida. So.
Yeah, it's chilly. It's chilly.
Try to warm up here.
I know. Yeah, the shed has no heater, so.
Yeah, we're in John's shed right now because his wife's sleeping.
Yeah,
you can't make any noise.
Well, I told everybody a couple podcasts ago that when we had the kid, we turned my office into the nursery. So I'm kind of without a desk. I'm without pretty much anywhere where I could do this. So it is what it is. Make do.
We'll get it done.
Yeah, get it done. So, man, I kind of wanted to start off land management stuff because that's what I'm really interested in. What have you guys done to transform that property? I feel like it was probably when you got it, at least that extra acreage. I know your dad or you both owned the 60-something acres, co-owned or something.
Yeah. So a little background history. My grandfather bought the property in South Alabama, 65 acres, like 9 years ago.
Okay.
And he passed away about 2 years after that, and it was split between my dad and his brother and sister, and my dad ended up buying them out, and then me and him hunted that. We were on a lease previously in Georgia, and we dropped the lease, and me and him just hunted the 65 for a few years, and then just last year I bought the conjoining on the back end that was landlocked, 70 acres.
Nice.
That butted up to it.
Nice.
So, but we've had a lot of success just on that 65.
So,
previously.
Explain like what it looked like before you really got into like kind of changing the property the way you wanted it. Was it closed canopy? Not a lot of undergrowth for browse? Like what did it look like when you were walking through the woods?
Yeah, so it's always been mature hardwoods. It's got it's closed canopy. It's big mature trees. Previously, before we went in there and did our thing, it had a lot of undergrowth and real thick stuff. Couldn't see very far and whatnot. And since then, over the past few years, we started doing rotating burns, where we sectioned off. We split the property into 3 sections, and every year we burn a different section, and which is great, per poundage per acre food source for turkeys and deer.
Yeah.
And it's had a huge impact on.
And you've seen an increase in turkeys and deer.
Yeah.
And quail too, right?
Yeah, drastically, yeah. Just coming up, probably last year we started seeing just an explosion of quail, ton of quail.
That's incredible.
Before that, I've never seen much at all,
and
ever.
That just proves, I know I've mentioned it before, that just proves my point. It's like these kind of, the whole Southeast used to be like prairies and savannas with like mixed hardwoods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it needs fire. like most of your trees, honestly, need fire to reproduce.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these species evolved with that fire, rolling through. And quail's one of those things. Everybody talks about quail numbers just plummeting in the southeast. Nobody burns. Nobody burns anything. You go out to these WMAs in Florida and you see quail because they're constantly burning them. So I mean, it just reiterates my point that burning really helps. How does it help the food? Is it just like all the browse is now able to come back up, or?
Yeah. So when you do the burn, first off, the turkeys, man. I mean, I think you've probably seen it before. I've seen them out there the next day, still smoking. Turkeys are still out there scratching, man. It's unbelievable.
They're looking for seeds and stuff.
Yeah. But for the thing is about burning is you can't have completely closed canopy because you just won't do as much.
Right.
We won't have as much growth because the sun is not hitting the forest floor and it's not growing as much. And I can see it drastically. I'll go in some places where it's real thick closed canopy and you'll burn in there and it'll be some stuff will come up, but nothing like crazy. And then I'll go to like a ridge top where it gets a lot of wind and it knocked down several trees previously years. And it's just thicker than crap with green new growth.
Yeah, all the new browse, new forbs, all that stuff coming up.
So a big thing about burning is you just keep in mind ahead of time, you're not doing a lot of stuff to help out with the food sources growing back if you have a closed canopy. So you got to open some stuff.
Have you gone through and logged anything? Have you like knocked down some trees?
No, we haven't done any logging, but we have done, I'm forgetting the name. Hack and squirts.
Okay.
Yeah, so we hack and squirted 2 years ago. We hack and squirted, went through the entire property and hack and squirted. And hack and squirt is where you go out with a machete or a small hatchet and
pole saw or something.
Yep. And you'll just walk around and you'll mark the trees you want to hit, and then go back through and you hit it one time. You try to get like an inch or two in. You spray. I can't remember what the pesticide or whatnot is called.
Herbicide.
Spray that herbicide.
Yeah.
Spray that in there and just keep moving.
Gotcha.
And you can cover a lot of ground. You got 2 or 3 guys.
Yeah.
So we knocked that out, and it ain't like the tree falls over that year, but within 2 or 3 years, those trees will come down and open everything up for you.
Yeah, that's
a lot better.
That's crazy. That's good. And you have I mentioned it earlier when I introduced you on the podcast when I recorded last night. You have something running with like the NDA or something like that to keep hogs off, or you get some sort of stipend or something for hog traps or something like, because you have a lot of hogs on the property too, right?
Yeah. So we work with NRCS program. They're not in just the state of Alabama. They're in several different states for the listeners. So definitely look up after this if NRCS program is in your state. I'm pretty sure they cover almost every state in the South. They're through the state of Alabama, and we work with a gentleman, and you pretty much he comes out, you show him, tell him what you want, what your needs are. Our biggest thing was obviously whatever's the best for the deer herd and turkeys.
Sure.
And then you put together a plan with him, and then you go work towards executing that plan. They have a ton of different programs to put in for. The one you're talking about, we put in for was we started getting a ton of pigs about 4 or 5 years ago, and they just exploded over the last 2 years.
As they do.
Yeah, and you just can't catch up with them, especially with us living in Florida. You'd have to be there every day.
Oh yeah, you still wouldn't
especially
catch
with
up with them. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, so we worked with them, and we pretty much just showed him our pig issues, man, tearing up plots and whatnot, and we put in for that program, and we ended up getting that grant, which allowed us to buy a pig brig system.
Nice.
And I just got that last year. I need to put that thing to use. It's done some crazy numbers. I got a buddy that's literally 20 minutes from me that caught 76 pigs last year.
Oh wow.
And he lives in Florida.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's
Warner actually.
Oh really? Yeah, no way. Wow, that's
incredible.
Yeah. Is he in Bama or Georgia though?
No, he's in Bama.
He is, okay.
He's like 20 minutes northwest of me.
Oh wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
right down the road.
Yeah.
76 pigs, 20 minutes from you. So you
On
know.
like 100 acres.
Yeah. So I mean, you know that they're all over that property.
And he doesn't live there. He goes. His how he does it is he goes out there for like 3 or 4 days, sets a trap the first day, or baits it up, sets a trap the next day, and then while he's hunting or whatever, lets that sit with a camera on it.
What is the pig break? Is it just like a big?
Yeah, so it's just it's probably like a 50. They got different sizes, but I think mine's about 15 by 15. You got stakes in the ground. It's pretty much a net that lays on the ground inward, and it allows the pigs to go under it. So they say the best way to do it is bait them up, get them used to it, and then once they're used to it, bring that system in, lay the net down slowly every day until it's on the ground.
Gotcha.
And the pigs get so used to it, they'll keep funneling through it. And when they go through it, they got feed there, so they're standing there eating there. And the other pigs are seeing them eating. They keep going, and eventually you got a whole dang pack in there.
Yeah. Wow.
It's lights out.
Jeez Louise.
I know. I can't think of a better way. I think to
You could donate all
eliminate 'em.
that meat, or you could just have pork chops for the rest of the
Yeah,
year.
make sure
man.
you get with the local church beforehand, so you got somewhere to put it.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. I wasn't sure the exact number. I know you run a lot of cameras. How many cameras are you running out there?
Oh man, you got it.
It's a lot, dude. I told him last night. I was like, it's got to be close to 30. I mean, he's got a crap load of cameras.
I got probably in Alabama, I got somewhere between 15 and 20 now. But keep in mind, at least this is all just last year. I picked up some more ground, but at least around 200 now around me.
Yeah.
So I got a little more ground to cover and whatnot. And it's how it is. It's different when you live in another state. You
gotta have the cell cams. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was saying last night, I was like, you can't walk on the property without getting hit by a camera.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. That's another thing. Hey, no one poaching out there.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. That's good stuff.
So don't get any bad ideas coming out there.
Oh man. So all right. First year you guys got it. Take me from like how many shooter bucks you had to like kind of where you're at now with how many bucks you'd be comfortable. I realize there's a legal limit, but like how many you'd be comfortable even bringing friends out there to like take bucks off the property.
Yeah, so I'd say the first 3 or 4 years, I mean we probably had maybe 1 to 2 shooters a year, and sometimes it would be like early season. We wouldn't even have a shooter. And then moving towards the rut, we'd have a rut buck push in or whatnot.
Real quick, you're just west of Eufaula, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What in your mind in that area is a shooter? Like how big are we talking?
Yeah, so when I'm talking
like a mature deer.
Yeah, so a mature deer, we try to shoot only 4.5 or better year-old bucks. Preferably 5 now. And we haven't always been like that, We'd shoot 3-year-olds and whatnot in previous years, but probably starting 3 or 4 years ago, we started really dialing in on trying to kill, at least 4.5, trying to get 5-year-old. It's always great, obviously, to see, inches,
Sure.
a big rack, but we really just focus on how old the deer is.
Okay. All right. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. All right, so now 1 to 2, maybe going through the rut, maybe have a couple rut bucks coming through. As it progressed, as you did this land management, now where are you at?
Yeah, now last probably 3 years, it's we've probably got roughly like at least 5 shooters, man, at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Which is previously I'd probably have 1 maybe.
Consistently,
yeah, every year. And we got deer that stay on the property now, and I see them for years and years and years.
Yeah.
If I can't poke one early.
Yeah.
And then during the rut,
we'll get into that big 8.
Yeah. There ain't no telling during the rut, though. I mean, we get a ton of rut bucks. We hold a lot of does. The key is, I think a lot of people miss is when you're managing a property, especially a small property, you need to figure out what you need to bring to the table to complete a big buck's paradise, pretty much, or pretty much just deer in general paradise. So in our situation, they started clear cutting around us, like I think the second year we had the property. And since then, we literally have clear cuts on every single side of us. Every like 2 or 3 years, another one got cut.
This is timberland around you?
Yeah, it's timberland
Okay,
around me.
okay.
Yeah, in the South there and there in Georgia, man, it's like it seems like almost 99% of the damn property is owned by timber companies, you know.
Sure.
So
North
like
Florida's
I said,
the same way.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And so pretty much all around us, we have different stages of clear cuts. We got, you know, right now we got a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old clear cut around us on a triangle, all 3 sides clear cuts. And what that is doing for us beneficially is it's creating, you know, the ultimate bedding,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for deer, a lot of bedding too. So we have all the bedding around us. So I'm not, so looking at on the outside looking in on our property, it's not beneficial for us to create more bedding
Right.
because we got all the bedding in the world around us. So we already got water, so food, bed.
You got a creek or something?
We got creeks. Yeah, we got 3 different creeks coming through the property.
Nice.
So we got water year round, got the bedding all around us, and we are introducing the food to them. So what we do is we got 3 or 4 food plots spaced out on the properties, and we run them year round. And we're not out there killing. I've never killed a mature buck on a food plot. I could count a handful of times I even had one on camera on a food plot. But what it's doing is bringing the other deer in.
Brings the does in.
I'm trying to keep the does on the property.
Yeah.
So we introduce food. I've told you previously, we run feeders. I only run them when the racks are growing, protein. And
what kind of protein?
We've been using a local guy over there, FRM. It's a pretty big company, FRM protein pellets.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all you're running them?
I think
no
it's
corn
they're
or
like
anything?
at 18%. That's it. Straight protein when the racks are growing. And then I let them, once the racks are growing, I let it go wear off, you know, and allow the hunting just to go back to normal.
I just looked out the window. My dog was chewing on one of my dead heads out there. I had to go take care of it.
Yeah, I know you threw me off for a second.
Yeah, that was my bad. Well, I looked out the window and I see the dog chewing on something. And I was like, that's my 7-point from WMA this year. I was like, no, that ain't happening.
No, I can't have it.
Yeah. All right, my bad. So all right, so you're running protein pellets, no corn, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. What kind of food plots are you putting down?
So
sun hemp, clover, stuff like that.
Yep. So on our winter plots, we do it's called Alabama blend.
Okay.
We've done Mississippi blends too, but we like the blends. They come in well. They're thick. They last a good while. In the summer, we've experienced with a few different things, but we love combining sun hemp with iron clay peas.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's that's been incredible because the sun hemp it can grow quick, gets like 4 feet tall, and that iron clay peas has a
chance to come up underneath.
Yeah,
it.
come up. It's good cover for the iron clay peas because you put iron clay peas by itself, it'll be wiped out.
Oh
in
yeah,
like 2 days.
It's the same with clover.
But also it gives it a good. Iron clay peas is like a weed, and it wraps around the iron clay. The iron clay peas wraps around the sun hemp and grows with it. So the deer go in there and be picking through that. And it's great cover, you know, when the fawns are coming in the summer.
Yeah, they just lay right down in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had jumped a ton of fawns and turkeys in the plots as well. Nesting.
The turkeys nest in it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, turkeys will nest in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. Sweet, man. How are the birds, like the population? How has it increased? Have you seen it increase, or have you always had birds out there? Or?
So we've always had a good amount of birds. I think what helps us a lot is, you know, they clear cut a lot around us too. We got all the big timber, mature timber around. So that helps us hold a ton of birds too. But the burns are, you know, absolutely phenomenal for turkeys because it opens up the ground for the poults need somewhere to walk and whatnot, and a ton of food.
Same with quail.
Yeah.
If it's too thick, they just can't get through it.
Yeah.
I think I sent you the study. It was Mississippi Deer Lab or something. I can't remember. Maybe it was Dr. Disturbance up at UF. I can't remember Deer Lab, but
I love Mississippi.
oh my gosh,
Deer
they're all
Labs,
of them. They're
man.
great, dude.
They were
The
incredible.
UF Deer Lab, that guy's fantastic too.
Mhm.
But they were saying, you need to be trapping for quail and stuff like that, and I guess they were somehow able to tag a whole bunch of like baby quail, and they went out whenever they got a mortality signal, and he was saying it's something like, don't quote me on the numbers here, but it was like most of the mortalities are coming from like corn snakes.
Yeah, I know you sent me that. It's unbelievable.
That was incredible.
I never would have thought something like that.
Never would have thought that. You would think avian predators, coyotes, bobcats, all your.
I thought bobcat would be number one, man.
You would think.
Best hunter in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. You would think. I mean, I've opened up bobcats and it's been nothing but rabbit feet.
Yeah.
I mean, they hammer the small animal, the small game,
yeah.
right? Corn snakes. I was like, what? How is that even a thing?
They got to be hitting the pulse too, man.
They have to be. They have to be
I
eating
mean,
turkeys too.
Same dang thing as
especially
the same dang size as a quail.
Especially when they're small like that, before they can get up and run and fly and stuff.
Yeah.
There's oh my gosh,
easiest.
That blew me away. So we got to start setting corn snake traps or something.
Yeah, right.
Get out there.
A little snare.
Yeah, something. Good Lord. All right.
Yeah.
So what? Have you? Oh, let's get to the Big 8 real quick because I brought that up a couple podcasts ago. I still am like skeptical about it, but he was an 8-point for how long?
Yeah, so I've had that 8-point on camera for I think 6 years now, and he's been the same exact size since the first year I got him.
How old was he when you first got him?
Yeah, minimum 4, but I'm thinking he was more like 5 when I first seen him on camera.
Okay, just saggy.
So he's
big, thick neck.
Minimum 10-year-old this year.
Okay, and now what is he?
He's a mainframe 8 with a 2-inch kicker off his left G2, and sorry, my bad. He's in mainframe 9 now with the kicker.
Right, so he's a 10-point. That's what I thought.
He's a 10.
That's incredible, dude.
Yeah.
And so he's like at least 10 years old. Like you're sure that it's the same deer.
Yeah, 100% same deer. The only deer I've had pretty much ever on camera there where his G2s, his G3s are bigger than his G2s.
Okay.
And then he wraps all the way around and almost touches the front. So he's got a lot of characteristics that no other deer have.
Right.
And he's 240 pounds.
You're gonna need a 4-wheeler to get him out of the woods.
God, I wish I could get him.
Good Lord. Well, you had a shot at him a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, yep, 2 years ago. So the main reason,
real quick, I'm glad you missed him because now he's like, dude, I never would have guessed. Like at 10 years old, he's growing an extra point and then a kicker as well.
Yeah, I never would have. He's literally had the exact same rack for 5 years, and then this year he threw those 2 extra points, which is absolutely insane to me.
Wild, dude.
I know, I couldn't believe it either. I mean, I don't know if it's just different deer, different things happen, but it's unbelievable to think that
they're still.
I mean, I honestly thought he would have been dead a couple of years
100%.
ago. Man. I mean, I didn't think he'd make it this far. It's unbelievable.
Right.
But yeah, so the history with him is before I bought this new property, we'd always get him on camera, and I never got him at towards the beginning of the season. I'd only get him during the rut, and he was almost like a rut buck. He'd show up for 2 or 3 weeks, and it'd be sporadic. I'd get him on a camera. It's always on the edge of this one side of the property. Well, once I bought that new property, it butted up to that edge where I get them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up diving into it the first summer, and there's some there's some planted pines. It's like, there's like a 15-acre stand of planted pines. It's like probably roughly 10 years old. It's thicker than hell. And I walked the whole perimeter of it and found rub lines going in and out of it. And ended up finding that, he uses that as bedding a lot during the year. Throughout the beginning of the season and late season, throughout the entire year, he's over there. And so that was that's when my chances really increased, to killing him. And that first year I got the property is when I got the shot at him.
Yeah.
And I caught him slipping through a swamp midday, like 11 a.m.
It was like stormy as hell, wasn't it, or something? Or
It was
windy or something?
yeah, it was windy and it was real cold. It was like mid rut.
So real quick, when is your rut up there? Because it's not typical for the rest of the country.
So our rut, our actual 100%, I think like 95% of the does go into actual heat is around January like 13th through the 16th.
So like
every
right now.
Yeah. So I should be there right now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. If I didn't have some other prior arrange stuff going on, then I'd be there now.
Yeah, and you hit a branch or something.
Yeah.
He didn't even flinch, did he?
No, I had him. It's unbelievable. I had him at 40 yards. I had my rifle with me, and looking through the scope, 40 yards,
Yeah.
Everything looks open. You can't see some stuff, and I squeezed one off, and he stood there for about 5 seconds. I was like, "What's going on?" And then he proceeded to bound down about 15, 20 yards, and stopped right behind a tree. Couldn't get a shot,
Golly.
and then he took off and ran directly away from me, and I could not believe what happened. But when I shot, I seen there was a creek that was about 10 yards above him, because I'm looking down at him in a swamp.
Sure.
Creek's right above him. The bullet, couldn't see the bullet obviously, but I could see where it ricocheted, and the creek above him splashed up.
Gotcha.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So it took me a few minutes to realize the hell was going on, but I hit a branch, ricocheted like 10 feet over his back.
Golly, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But now he's a fucking 10.
Yeah.
So
if I can get him this year, it'd make a hell of a story.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have like the pictures, like when he was an 8, all the years up to when you got him now.
Well, last year I had him dialed in. I mean, I had this deer. I knew where he was sleeping, everything last year, and just before I put my cameras out, certain situations I'll put cameras out, and if I really know a deer and figure him out, I won't go in there and pressure until I see him daylighting, and he started daylighted 2 days in a row.
You just slip in and put the camera in like before season,
yeah,
like
I'll hang a
summertime or
stand.
something.
I'll put the cameras in. If the cameras are doing what I'm thinking, I'll go hang a stand, and then I'll just let it sit for months. And I found those giant rub lines going in and out of the bed. I knew where he was coming in and out of that bed, exiting it. And when he started daylighting on it, I went up there. He daylighted 2 days in a row, and I left. Pretty sure I called out of work.
It happens.
And I left, and I started driving, and I got about 2 hours out, and my phone started buzzing because I got cell cams, and the neighbor's dogs, 3 dogs,
that's right,
running through his bed.
Oh, that's right.
And long story short, did not see him for 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
And
that's brutal.
They literally ran right through his bed, man. I'm pretty sure.
You think they were chasing him, or do you think they were just running through?
I think there's so many deer that bed in that bed or in that stand of pines. They were probably pushing every day.
Now you have like a stand, an area of like pine trees that I would say you probably don't burn. Is that right?
Yeah, we don't burn that.
Okay, that's do you have like an area where it's like a quote unquote sanctuary? Is that what?
Yeah, that is the sanctuary there.
How big of a area is it? Do you
it's
think?
15 acres.
Okay.
15 acres straight, 10-year-old thicker than hell pines that were planted, and they were planted real close together, so it's unbelievable thick.
The deer can just get in there and just
you literally
can
stand on the edge of it. You can't see 10 feet in it.
Gotcha.
And it holds a ton of deer. I try not to hunt it. I hunt it a little bit early season because there's some white oaks near it, but besides that, I try to stay away from there until the rut where I'm really trying to kill one.
Right, till you see them actually chasing does through it.
Yeah.
All right, gotcha. I like it. Well, I hope you get him this year, because that'd be, like you said, a hell of a story.
Oh man, I'm praying. I've been praying for years. Hopefully the Lord blesses me. To be honest with you though, this year, as of right now, it ain't looking real hot, because he has been, out of all the years, I've had him on camera, this has been like the most sporadic year. I don't know what's going on.
But I think it's probably got to do with the fact that he's 10 years old and he's got a bunch of younger bucks that have moved in. And dude, from the antler size alone, body size and antler size, dude, they got to be the dominant bucks out there. I mean, there's no shot that he's able
Yeah.
to hang.
Yeah, no, you're
the
right.
same-
It could be definitely a huge factor. There's definitely some younger, bigger bucks that have moved in and could possibly have pushed him out
Yeah.
a little bit or pushed him to a different area.
Yeah.
I'll get him. And I don't want to sound like I don't like just hunt cameras. I'm hunting sign and stuff. But when you're sitting in another state, it's hard not to judge off of some cameras.
100%.
And I catch myself every now and then, focusing too much on cameras. In Missouri this year is a perfect situation to tell you why you shouldn't focus on cameras. I mean, I should dive into that.
Yeah,
real
go
quick.
for it.
Yeah, so I hunted a new property in Missouri this year. I've never hunted Missouri previously.
Real quick, let's back up. So you never hunted Missouri. There's a bunch of ag land area. You had a buddy in he's in Oklahoma, I think.
Yep, he lives in Oklahoma.
And
yeah.
he had permission on a property or something like that.
Correct.
Okay. So you were going out there not blind, but kind of blind.
Yes.
And how this is I wanted to get this out to the listeners because I think it's just the absolute best way to get hunting permission. How did you acquire some hunting permission out there?
Yeah, so like you said, my buddy Bryson, he lives in Oklahoma. I think he's only like 5 hours from Missouri.
Okay.
He had permission from a guy who works, family member he was a farmer, had like a good bit of land out in Missouri in this specific area. And Bryson was going out there to do some early season scouting.
Don't say the city, but what quadrant of Missouri?
Yeah, so it's like north central Missouri.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. And so I went up there to meet him. He was doing some scouting on his property, but I wanted to see if I could get some permission door knocking on not adjacent properties, but properties in that general area.
Yeah. Easy drives from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went on hunt stand, marked out, all the doors I want to knock on to look good to me. And I thought I had a chance of getting, and I showed up there. And the first day I went to church the first morning, and I ended up meeting a farmer there, and me and him kicked it off. Great man. We talk all the time now, once a week probably. And incredible guy. But he ended up allowing me permission to bow hunt his properties.
Nice.
He's got a few different properties, but that's how the permission was landed.
Just going to church and talking with people.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
good old fashioned, just meeting people.
And I love the Lord, so don't think I was there for different reasons.
Yeah, you go to church. You're a legit Christian. You're not like I just go for hunt permission.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so walk me through. Is it what's he growing there?
Yeah, so it's predominantly all beans and corn.
Okay.
Yep, and I mean
typical Midwest farm.
Yeah, literally. I mean everything.
Soybeans.
Everything works the same. Soybeans. Yeah.
All right. Cool. So you're out there. You got permission. How big is the farm?
So he's got around 10 different farms, all ranging from like 100 to 200 acres.
Jesus. All
So
right. So you
crazy.
got a lot
I hit
of
a gold mine, dude.
You hit a gold mine.
I didn't have to knock on another door.
Right. You made it work.
Once I landed that permission, I met with him the next morning, showed me the properties, and I spent the next 3 days just diving into them and learning them, getting a few cameras out, and because there's only 2 weeks till the opener of bow.
Yeah.
When I landed it, so I had minimal time to figure this place out and see if I can.
So you're throwing a lot of cameras out, or what?
Yeah. I brought 7 cameras with me, and it's weird because I'm used to hunting the South, where you can't see 30 yards in front of you.
Right.
So
now you can see like 7,000 yards.
Yeah. So you put a camera out, it's like, where the hell am I putting it, man?
Right.
We got a bean field here.
Right.
We got tracks in every freaking foot of it. Like, what am I looking for, But I've ended up putting a few cameras out. Got a few good deer. You could tell they could grow some giants out there, like I already knew, obviously. But I just had a bunch of 3-year-olds that, 130s and whatnot.
Well, you're not terribly far from Kansas, right?
No, Iowa.
Iowa, that's it. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Get my states mixed up.
Yeah,
okay.
No, I do that all the time.
Yeah, so you're not far from Iowa.
Yeah, I'm only like 45.
Oh, my God.
30, 45.
So you've got just that whole genetic pool is going to be just...
Everyone I've met in, Missouri says above, I forgot what river that runs through it. I want to say Ohio River. I'm not 100%, but anything above this one river that's like just above the middle of the state. They say anywhere north of that, giants.
Really?
That's what everyone has told me.
No shit.
And I was above that, so I was like, "Ooh, we got a good
All
sign."
right, good. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so what are you looking for to hang the camera then? If you're looking 7,000 yards, 7,000 acres of bean fields, you're like, all right, what now?
Yeah. So I knew I was gonna go up there because I asked him prior. I was like, I'm from Florida. I told him, and if I come up here, it's gonna be probably twice a year. One time during early archery, and then one time during the rut. So I knew I was going. So what I was getting at is my camera situation. I always do the same way anywhere I go. Like if I go prior to the season, I'm focusing on different things than for the rut. So I knew when I went back up there to bow hunt the last day, I was gonna move my cameras around for rut locations. So I knew my main thing is, bedding the food. I mean, everything's gonna be bedding,
Sure.
especially in the Midwest.
Sure.
You got all that ag. So, excuse me. So and you can't bait in Missouri.
That's good.
So that's another, yeah, and it's another big thing with a camera. You know what I mean? Like if you can't bait and you got a 100-acre bean field, I mean, where the hell am I putting it?
Right.
But I focused on natural pinch points where the timber would poke out a little more, and if a buck or any deer would walk through there, he most likely would walk by that spot where it poked out a little bit.
Gotcha.
Just anything that could increase my chances.
Yeah. Any kind of funnel,
Yeah,
pinch point.
I was looking for old rub lines coming in and out of timber, things like that.
Yeah, sure.
Because a lot of those, a lot of those bucks you can see, or a lot of the edges of the timber you can see, old rubs and whatnot, and they probably be using them for years and years.
Yeah, sure.
So stuff like that.
Okay.
And so I got the cams out. I was there for probably 2 or 3 days. Got my cameras out. Went back to Florida. Let those sit, and like I said, only 2 weeks later, I was going up there to hunt, and I was trying to hunt the opener. So previously or prior to going up there for the opener, I didn't get a ton. I got a lot of deer on camera, a ton.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest deer I had on camera, was something I wasn't exactly looking to kill, especially in Missouri. 3-year-olds, 130-inch deer, or 120s, 130s. Doesn't matter about the inches, but 3-year-olds.
Yeah, but you want a mature deer.
Yeah, I want a mature,
especially if you're traveling.
Yeah,
yeah.
If I'm heading all the way there, man. Put the miles on. I want to kill something good, man. A mature buck. So
especially that close to Iowa.
Yeah,
it's like there's. Yeah. I don't want to say there's expectations, but private land that close to Iowa, there's probably a little expectation.
Yeah, no, 100%. So heading up there, I ended up, obviously going, and I knew in the back of my head, I haven't hunted, a lot of places with a ton of ag. I'm used to hunting hardwood stuff, but I knew that, these bucks, they'll get on this transition where it's food to bed, and they will literally walk half the time the dang same trail every time, in and out. And if you ain't got a camera there and you ain't got eyes on it, you ain't gonna see it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I can put a camera up, damn deer's 50 yards from it walking out every day, never hit my camera.
Right. You've got that little view that the camera has, and that's literally it. Meanwhile, you've got booners walking right behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So the whole time I knew going up there, I need to, glass one prior to killing. Once I could see one where he's entering, where he's exiting the field, I can move in there, hang a stand, and have a good shot at poking him. So when I got up there, I had a good idea. The best place I seen, there was some CRP. It was like maybe 10 acres of CRP that butted up to a slough, hardwood slough that was like 20 yards wide with a creek in it. And on the other side of that was a huge bean field. I was like, oh man, it's unbelievable. So you got the bedding, you got the funnel, man, and then on the other side,
you got safety, bedding, water source, and food source.
Yeah, unbelievable,
all
man.
within right there.
So so in the back of my head, I'm like, man, if I was a mature buck, where the hell I'd be right here. So the first day, that's where I went. I hung just an observation stand, and there was a finger of timber like 300 yards from there where I could just glass. I ain't gonna spook anything. And oh man, this is funny, man. I forgot about this. Yeah, you know about it. But the first sit, I get up in this tree, and it was about 2:30 p.m. And I'm hanging the stand. I get to the top, My bow's on the ground. All I have is my sticks. I'm 3 sticks up, bow's on the ground, and the actual stands on the ground, my lone wolf. And I hear something, a stick crack behind me, and this little finger that was it's like a little island in the middle of the woods, or in the middle of the ag. And I turn around, and there's a 10-point looking at
Oh
me
my God, dude.
at 40 yards. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This is the first sit.
Like,
I mean, this is unbelievable.
the first time you hung a stand in Missouri.
You're
like,
sit.
this is gonna be a great trip.
Oh yeah. I'm like, oh, this is unbelievable. So this deer proceeds. I'm sitting here hanging from a tree, holding on to it, looking at this deer, and he's looking in my general view. I don't know how the hell he didn't hear me getting up in that tree.
He
man.
probably did. He was like,
I mean, there was no wind or
like,
anything.
that's the biggest fox squirrel I've ever heard.
Yeah. So this deer proceeds to step out of this little island, and I should have known better, man. I've always in the past, man, if you can find an island in the middle of ag or in the middle of a clear cut, man, big bucks love being away from other deer,
Sure.
and they'll stay in those little things.
Pretty solitary until the rut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get away from all the does, everything else. He steps out into the bean field. It's 2:45 p.m. and he proceeds to eat 30 yards from me. And I'm looking at my bow, and he's sitting here eating at 30 yards.
I assume the wind had to have been perfect. Like he just. He had no idea that you were there.
Like
I mean, he knew something was there. Didn't know it was a person.
Yeah, my wind was lights out. That's another reason why I hunted that spot the first day, because I only had that wind for like 2 or 3 days, and then it switched.
Okay.
So on my way in, wind's in the face from the road, going across this ag, wind's in my face the whole time, and so he had no idea. He could never pinpoint me or anything like that.
It's all right. He's 30 yards feeding.
Yeah, so he's 30 yards. He comes out into the damn beans. He's eating 30 yards from me. He probably got within 20 a couple times. Eats for probably 40 minutes. He's now like 3:30.
And you're just clinging to the tree. You're just like,
I couldn't believe it. So he fed across the bean field about 300 yards and entered this other patch of timber. So I went ahead and pulled my bow up, pulled the stand up, got situated, and at last light, I ended up seeing, I think I seen probably around 10 deer that afternoon, first sit. But last light, he stepped out, the same trail he stepped out, entered the timber across from me. He stepped out about 200-300 yards, and I was glassing him last light, maybe like 10 minutes before light. And then about 3 minutes before last light, his running partner stepped out, which was bigger than him.
Oh my God.
He was a stud, around probably 150-inch deer, but he was a giant body. He was 6-year-old plus. But they proceeded to hit a scrape. This is late September, dude.
And they're already scraping.
Not even late September. This was, I gotta look at the dates. It was around September 20th, I think.
Okay.
It was opening weekend.
And he's pawing up a scrape.
He's literally hitting a licking branch, pawing
way.
it out. I mean, the big boy that was with him, he hit that licking branch for probably 2 or 3 minutes, pawed it out.
God.
Giant scrape, man. I could see it with the binos for 300 yards.
Jesus.
Walks down, hits another scrape, and then proceeded to come into the bean field and feed.
So a decent scrape line.
Yeah.
Right into the bean field.
So now I'm like, boy, I got this guy locked in. He's done. Because I know where he's exiting the field, entering the field, and exactly where he's exiting and entering the field, he has a giant scrape he likes to hit.
Yeah.
Just before he enters and exits.
And he had a good win.
And I got a good win, yeah. So, all right, so I had a good win that day. And then the next 2 days, I think I was there for a total of 4 days. The next 2 days, I had a bad win. And I had to hunt. I ended up hunting 2 different farms other than that one because I knew I couldn't get away with that win, how they were going out in that ag.
Yeah.
So the next 2 days, I ended up playing it safe, not hunting that area, knowing that I had another day or two of a good win that was going to return. So the next time I had a good win, I was going in for the kill. I went straight into him. Another thing I want to touch upon is I didn't hunt mornings.
Okay.
Early season, it's just too much of a risk sometimes.
What part of the year were you there for bow? When is bow season there?
Yeah, it's like September. I think I gotta look at the dates. I think it's like September 16th or something, somewhere in there.
All right, so even before October, just like kind of like Georgia, Florida.
Like, you wouldn't think they'd be heavy on a scrape. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't hunt a lot of Midwest, so maybe it's like that. But in my general opinion and what I've talked to other people, they're usually not hot on a dang scrape, for mid-September. So knowing all that information I gathered from that first sit, the next time I had a good win, which was 2 days after that, I dived in there. I got in there early, like 2 p.m., hung my stand. And last light, same thing. I seen a ton of does, small bucks, and then last light, big boy steps out at 30 yards on that scrape. And it was, when I say last light, it was dark.
Yeah.
Like dark. And I just could not, it was way too dark. I could barely even
Couldn't
see
see
him.
your pin.
Couldn't see the pin, nothing.
That's
it was dark.
Brutal, dude.
And
But
so
you
I
knew
proceeded.
it was a big boy. You could just see.
Well, what's crazy is I didn't even. It was so dark I couldn't even see him with my naked eye.
You just heard him
I
hit the
literally
scrape.
was about to come down, and I ended up turning my headlamp on.
No way.
The green light on accident, and when I did, I looked like this, and I seen eyes at 30 in the scrape.
Oh my God, dude!
Literally, bucks like this. I could just see his eyes. You could see his head was in the scrape, and he looks up like this. I'm like, oh God! So I turned it off. I sat there for another 30 minutes, man, just praying. He walked away.
You never blew or anything.
No, nothing. I flipped it on like 15 minutes later. He's still standing in it.
Oh
Turned it off.
my God!
I know. I was so scared I was gonna bust him out. I waited another 15. I never heard. I could hear him a little bit. I think him or another deer moved through the beans. So I gave him quite a bit of time, 30 minutes or so. Eased my way down, got out of there, left my stand obviously. And the next night was my last night, so I had to get it done. I was in the right spot. Just needed him to step out at the right time before last shooting light. So fast forward to the next day, slipped in there same time, 2 p.m. and seen a few deer, just not him. And again, last light, I seen him. He was actually in the island now, back behind me, where I first seen him. Steps out of the island an hour before dark, feeds in the bean field. I just watched him at 200 yards. And then last light,
God dang, if you had a rifle.
he walks all the way across that bean field to that scrape at 30 yards.
Oh my God.
And I shot him right there in that scrape. Shot him in a scrape in mid-September, man.
That's freaking
Working the
awesome.
scrape, digging it out.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable, man. And that was the last light, last 5 minutes of shooting light, and I was leaving in the morning.
That was the big one you shot? The good one you saw? Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was a great buck. He ended up going 137. And his running, he was the one I was talking about.
The first one.
He's the one that stepped out
Gotcha.
the first day.
The first one that you saw. All right, I'm tracking now. His running partner was the giant. Got it. Okay, so you shot the first one you saw.
Yes.
That was okay. All right, I'm tracking now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, when I shot that deer in the scrape, it was right at last light. I could see his big frame and everything, but I could not tell which one it was.
Yeah, gotcha.
You know. But
you're like, I just knew I shot a big buck.
Yeah, yeah. But I knew that other one was a great deer too, and it was my first time in Missouri, first hunt, man. I just got the permission 2 weeks ago. I had to poke him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially archery.
Yeah,
dude, I'd have done the same thing. You kidding me?
Yeah.
At 30 yards, I'd have jumped on his back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Golly.
It was incredible.
All right, real quick, we got like roughly 10 minutes left. What are your expectations this upcoming? You're going to go to Bama here in the next few days or something like that.
Yeah.
What are you looking at? What are you looking for? You just looking for a rut buck? You got anything patterned?
This upcoming hunt?
Bama? Yeah. Because it's the rut. You're planning on hunting the rut up there. Because Bama's season goes through February, if I'm not
correct.
mistaken.
February 10th. Yeah.
Golly, it's crazy.
Yeah, they got the latest rut in the country. Out of any
I was
whitetails.
telling Kelly on one of the podcasts, you could start in Florida in late July and hunt bucks all around the country, all the way and end up in Bama in February.
Yeah,
you can hunt the majority of the year for whitetails. It's crazy.
That's why I love. I mean, we got the best situation possible to own land in South Alabama where you got a late rut, because I can go hunt these Midwest states,
right,
and I get 2-3 rut hunts in, or 2-3 different rut hunts in, and hit them perfectly.
Right,
it's unbelievable. But yeah, so this upcoming trip, to be honest with you, man, if I didn't have anything going on right now, I'd be up there. But we got a lot of stuff going on at the house with the wife and everything. Her being pregnant, and we just moved into the new house. But if all works out, I'm going to try to run up there, sometime next week, and weather looks phenomenal.
Gonna be cold.
It's gonna be cold. Yeah. The highs are in the 50s every
It's gonna
single day.
snow here in a few days, isn't it? Like Friday or something?
Yeah, it says it could. It's getting down to like 23 one of the days.
Oof.
It's unbelievable. I think they said it's the coldest stretch of days, like a 5-day stretch in like 30 years.
Yeah,
or something
you got to be up there for that.
Yeah,
You got to be in the woods for that.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be focusing. It's gonna be like not so much. It'll be transitioning from pre-rut to full rut. So there's definitely gonna be some does that are actually in heat. But every year I focus on the same things. I'm hunting pinch points and travel corridors, connecting predominantly the travel corridors that connect two different big beddings.
Nice.
Because these bucks, once they get off a doe, they're on her for 24, 48 hours. They're gonna be searching for the next one, especially these mature bucks,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna be going from bedding to bedding to bedding. And I'm trying to catch one slipping in between them.
Sure.
And another thing is those does, be walking the hell out of those sloughs too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm gonna be focusing all my attention on. A lot of people I think mess up, when it comes to a rut. They don't understand that, you need to be hunting completely different things than early season, late season, rut. And they just, no offense to them, but if big buck hunting is a lot different than hunting just deer hunting,
Mm-hmm.
hunting a food plot or feeder and stuff like that,
Right.
But yeah, that's what I'm gonna be focusing on, praying that it works out.
Mm-hmm.
It's worked out for us the years past a lot. We had a lot of success, so we're praying that we find a lot of success this year too. My pops will be going.
I was
going to
say, is your dad going up there too?
Yeah, he's fired up.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Especially after the Missouri. That's another time we got to talk about.
Oh
Missouri.
yeah,
the second Missouri,
the Missouri debacle.
My pops still eating them up until this day, dude.
every time I see him, I'm like, so where's that 160 at, dude?
Oh man,
it's brutal.
Yeah.
I've never seen a defeat like that, honestly, but yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Oh, I know, unbelievable.
And it was we could like glass over it real quick, like what happened. He shot it looked like 160 class deer. I mean, it was a freaking monster.
Yeah.
And then he obviously the arrow didn't go in. He hit something. He had to hit a bone.
Yep.
And like the picture that he sent, it's like barely buried. That deer has to still be alive. I mean, there's no shot that he's dead.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is, I mean, I got the picture. I had a trail cam in that slough, and the deer ended up running, right past my trail camera like 10 seconds after he shot it, and I could see the arrow hanging out and whatnot. And I think he got at least, not much, but at least like had to get like 4 to 6 inches, man. But you think it would kill.
It's a long ass arrow then, because the picture he sent, 31, I was like,
31 inch arrow, and that's just speculation,
Yeah.
Judge off a picture, trying to break up. I'm over here measuring this damn thing out when I was hunting in Missouri with no service.
Right.
But I'm thinking he got at least 3 to 6 inches or something, and if he got anything above 4, you think and it was in the right area, it was in the vitals, you think he would have been dead. But after putting a dog on him and me tracking him, covering 500 yards up and down them damn hills out there.
See any blood?
Yeah, we had blood. There was no exit. That arrow never came out. So both holes are plugged. So there was little drops every 15 yards or so.
I bet he's still alive.
As you expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think he was definitely alive. I don't know if he maybe possibly expired after that, but what's insane is the farmer texted me like a week ago. I can't remember if I told you this or not. He texted me and said his dog, he had this old mutt that would lay out in the yard all day and walk around the woods and stuff. He brought back deer bones. Yeah, the other day, like multiple pieces of leg bone and whatnot. And I was like, I mean, who knows? But I told my dad he got fired up for a second.
You never know. There's so many deer out there.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, I'll bet you.
I feel all right because we gave it everything we got looking for that deer.
Absolutely.
He definitely wasn't alive, or definitely wasn't dead when we were looking for him. I promise you that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I took a day and a half off the hunting just to look for that thing. Yeah. Alone.
Oh Jesus! I'd have taken.
The only thing more we could have done was get them drones. The drones.
The thermal drone. God, dude, I want one of those so bad.
I know.
All right, man. Where can people find you on social and stuff like that?
Yeah,
because you do a lot of turkey guiding as well.
So
turkey guiding, scallop guiding.
Scallop guiding, Osceola, turkey hunting guiding. You can Instagram is my biggest thing probably. DRut90.
DRut90. That's right.
It's a handle.
All right.
But yeah. I appreciate y'all having me on here, man. It's been
Dude, it was a blast.
great time, man.
Hour flies by, dude. Told you
Yeah.
it's easy. Just got to
Yeah.
take an hour out of your day.
Yeah, that's right, man.
You can talk
That's
about this
right.
for freaking 3 weeks straight. It'd be
Yeah,
easy.
that's right.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll throw this into the main podcast. Catch you next time. Anyway, back to our conversation.
And we're back.
And we're back. How do you like that?
Oh, God, I sound
There
like
it is.
Sound like I've got about to die tinnitus.
Oh, Kelly, he died of consumption.
It's been like 2
The old
weeks, man, and it started as a little
tuberculosis.
little tickle in your chest, and then it's just
It's
we
the
were
worst.
laying on the couch yesterday, and you could hear it. And last night I woke up wondering why my cat was purring around me. Like, it woke me up in the middle of the night. It was me. I was freaking wheezing, sleeping,
God.
and you can't cough the shit
so
out.
you told me earlier that you were making something or drinking something. I was not familiar with it exactly. What was that?
It's mullein, or some people call it mullein or something like that. But yeah, mullein.
Yeah, mullein.
It grows wild. Is it a biannual plant where it's 2 years? Grows first year, it doesn't grow a flower or seed. Second year it does. Okay, so that's what it is. So your first year, you take the leaves off and you dry them out. Some people put them in a dehydrator. I put them in the oven, dry them out, and crumble it up, and you make a tea out of it. And just like you would make any kind of green tea. And I put a little bit of mint in it to give it a little bit of flavor, and some honey, and it helps. It's a natural expectorant.
You're saying it's got kind of similar properties of
like a mucinex
or
almost.
something. Yeah, that's cool.
And
but you
drink 4 cups a day, they say, and it works. Which I haven't been doing that. I've probably been doing 1 or 2 for the past little bit. But if I drink it like I should, which I did when I first started doing it, you start to feel a little better and get all that crap out of you. But yeah, natural expectorant. It has a lot of other qualities to it too, but I can't think of them all off the top of my head because I'm still foggy headed from being sick. Yeah, it grows wild all over the place. Actually, some people call it cowboy toilet paper because it's like felt, super soft, and cowboy toilet paper. That's as far as we have to go.
What you got to do. It's probably a lot better option than losing a sock or underwear.
Doesn't taste bad. It actually smells kind of sweet when it's just dehydrated and crumbled up in the jar. I put them in just like half-gallon mason jars, and yeah, it's one of the many things I grow and just get off the land out there. Some people think I'm nuts, but a lot of people don't. Natural medicinal stuff.
I like it.
Oh, another thing, talking about natural medicinal, people smoke it. They roll it and smoke it. They say that it actually has healing properties to the lungs for smokers, and it helps people to quit smoking too. Yeah, I am too. But people will smoke it to help them quit smoking regular cigarettes.
Tobacco. Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, I have no doubt that Native Americans probably use that for the exact same thing that you're using it for. So that's pretty cool. I like it.
And it's
we were talking
faux
earlier,
free.
Faux free.
Mm-hmm.
At Mucinex is expensive too. Talking earlier, you said you had a couple deer to clean. Which one of your boys shot it? Give me the rundown.
Actually, Jessica shot both of them. My girlfriend, she's been trying all year. We finally...
Bucks, does?
Does, 2 does.
Nice.
We sat in the stand a few times this year. A couple times just didn't come together because the deer didn't get in the right spot. One time she pulled the trigger, the primer dented, and the bullet did not go boom.
That's brutal.
And good thing it didn't, because like I said, when we sighted it in, it was way off. But
you'd have shot the spotted fawn that was right next to it.
Yeah. But then we sighted it in, and she went this past weekend and knocked 2 of them down. 1 shot, 1 kill, dropped in their tracks. Didn't have to, no tracking them. Didn't even go 20. Didn't go 2. Just dropped right there.
Nice.
So yeah, we skinned those out of the house. They're quartered and in the cooler now. I put them in bags and just leave the drain open.
Did you shoot them at the house or you shot them at the lease?
She shot them at her own. She has her own club.
Nice.
I got one of those girls. She likes hunting. She does her own thing, has her own spots, has her own hunting lease, And she's like, "Oh, well, I can't hang out this weekend because I'm going hunting." And I'm like,
Okay.
"Okay, sounds good to me."
Say less.
Yeah,
I'm going hunting.
I'm going hunting too. But yeah, she
Damn.
went down there and popped 2 of them and brought them back. And today is January 6th. We've got another exactly a full week, I think. If we were hunting tonight, with spotlights, we'd have a full week left of hunting season. For me, I've got till the 26th because Barrow County, I have a place there, and they have extended archery in Georgia, so you can hunt until January.
It's only for certain counties, though, right? That extended archery.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's cool though. Yeah, I've got till the 19th down here. I can still go out. So I was gonna see if I couldn't. The wife had me with the kid all day today, so I'm gonna use that good
I
will
watched the
that I built
youngin'.
up today.
Now let me go watch some
use
deer.
that good. That's exactly right. Exactly right. I'm gonna try and slip in the woods tomorrow afternoon or something like that. We'll see if it all comes to fruition. For some reason, I feel like I've done something wrong today. I don't know what it was, but I guarantee it was something. But cool, man.
Well, you
That's
did
good.
something good this past week. Tell me about your trip up to the farm.
Dude, it was great, man. I mean, it was kind of warm on the warm side when we got there, and when I say warm in the mountains, it was like mid 50s. I think it got up to like 60 that first day, and 2 acres, not that big, but there's a lot of ag land, a lot of timberland all around it, so it's like deer are coming through the property anyway. But what we do have is a creek bottom with a big pasture, so the deer freaking flood to that pasture, and they get all the forbs and grasses that are still growing down there just because there ain't nothing growing in the woods right now. And I dumped some corn out just to really get them coming in so that Zane would have a good time. The first afternoon, we didn't really see anything. He got kind of cold. Once that sun dips down below the mountain, it starts to chill off pretty quick. So, yeah, we didn't really see anything, and we just came back in. The next day, we didn't go out in the morning because it was pretty damn cold, and I didn't want to wake up because I'd driven all day the day before. Yeah. So I made breakfast. Then we went out, sat for a while, and the way the property was set up, it was set up kind of like as a vacation house for family, right? So there's this old tree house that they built. I mean, it's built better than the house I'm living in, to be honest with you.
I was hoping that you got to go in that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So it's kind of near the house, not so close that it's like breaking any laws or anything, but still close enough where if the gun reports, then it sounds like it's going off in the house. And you can only shoot does on, I think it's like a week in November and January 1st. So on January 1st, we sat in there, and I had, like I said, I had the feeder running. Zane was sitting in a seat that was really loud. It was like one of those camp chairs, and every time he'd move, it would be like,
yep.
I was like, all right, buddy, you got to stop moving. Being the Gen Alpha kid that he is, I ended up letting him bring his Switch into the stand with him because I knew he'd get bored. So he was sitting there playing that. He constantly, hey, do you see anything? Do you see anything? No, buddy, I don't see anything. Eventually, a squirrel ended up coming down and eating underneath the feeder. And he's like, do you see anything? I was like, yeah, there's a squirrel out there. So he kind of pokes
And
his
you
head. I was
exploded the squirrel with the 300. No?
My intrusive thoughts were to blast a squirrel, as they always are. Because fuck squirrels. Because those little bastards will betray you so fast.
They bark at you. They crawl all over your head. They make you think they're a herd of deer, and they tear up your feeders and eat all your freaking corn.
I had one piss on me last year.
Nuh-uh.
It was in a branch above me, and I was in my saddle, and it starts like raining, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's a blue sky, and there's a damn squirrel right above me pissing.
That's
he didn't even know
I've
I was
never
there
heard before.
Yeah. I was like, you have got me fucked up. Right
I've had
now.
them dropping stuff on me before, like acorns and sticks or whatever,
Sure.
dropping them on me on purpose. I guess it's on purpose. It's multiple times in the same spot, but never.
They're just trying to get you to move so they can be like,
yeah, so they can bark at you.
Right. But anyway, so he's sitting there under the feeder eating the corn, and we were not moving at all. And he just kind of like jumps up onto a pine tree and starts barking. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. And he's sitting there barking, and Zane's like, what's going on? I'm like, I think something's coming in, buddy. Like, I don't know why he would have done that. We weren't moving. Obviously whispering the whole time.
Yeah.
Doing a good job. I actually did pretty good scent control too. just like spraying some cover scent in the blind. The blind does I call it a blind. The treehouse
holds
does a
most
pretty
of
good
it
job
in.
of containing. Yeah, for the most part. About 5 minutes later, we hear like a branch and I was like, buddy, something's coming in. And, whispering to him. And he's like, okay. And he kind of gets up and he's looking. He's like, I don't see anything. And I was like, hang on. And the way the treehouse is got like shutters over the windows, and they're like hurricane shutters that kind of fold out. So I had one like fully open and one like half open. And so the half open one, I kind of like peered out around, and it's like 4 yards from my face. There's like 2 does. I'm like, oh,
standing there.
just kind of ease back in my seat.
Throw a
Like,
rock
hey,
at him.
Pretty much. I mean, you could have done a blow dart. There'd been like Tim Wells in there. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah, they're right there. And so he gets up and he's sitting on my knee and he's waiting. And they both walk in. They start eating the corn. They're kind of uneasy because we had already been walking through there all day. We had seen the neighbors' dogs go through there, so they were kind of
probably
smelling
still
all
some
that,
of your scent on the line.
100%. They knew that somebody was in there. Uneasy, but the bigger doe, there was like a yearling. I think it was a yearling buck. 86 that real quick. The bigger doe turned broadside at like 8 yards, and I was like, all right, get your ear pro on, plug your ears. Bang! Drops her right there. The yearling just stands there. And I'm like, huh, this dude's definitely going to get shot. Not by me, but somebody's going to shoot him.
Somebody.
So we ended up getting the deer. The yearling bounded off, cleaned it that night. I was pretty skeptical about how he was going to take gutting it and everything. He dove right in. It was no problem for him at all. And sorry, technical difficulties there. Back at it. Where was I? Anyway, the doe dropped. We cleaned it, and I was really concerned about him, getting in the guts and all that stuff. He's, just being squeamish about that sort of thing. But he held legs. He helped me clean it. He was like, "What's that blue thing?" I was like, "That's the liver." He's like, "Where's the heart? I want to see the heart." I'm like, "Here's the heart." He's like, "Golly, that's cool. It's big." I was like, "Yeah, it's about the same size as a human heart. It's really not that much different." And he's like, "Wow, that's cool. That's like the size of your heart." I'm like, "Yeah, pretty much." So he was into it, like just going headlong down the rabbit hole. I was like, this is awesome. And the biggest thing was like, he's like, "Are we going to eat this?" I'm like, yeah, we are. And he probably had like 3 or 4 steaks off that thing that night. So it was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, it was cool. And something I wasn't quite prepared for. So if you're listening to this, you got a kid that you're just bringing in the woods. He was like, "Well, do you get sad whenever you kill animals?" I was like, "Yeah, every single time." And I was like, "You're taking a life. That means something." So we had to go. I wasn't prepared to go into that conversation, but we went headlong into it. And I was like, "Look, you're taking a life. It means something. It's not just like pulling a trigger and bang, the animal's on your plate. It is a very weighty decision that you're making when you're looking at an animal through a scope or through a bow sight or whatever." And
before you walk
I
up
think
to that
he got
animal, 2 minutes ago, it
Yeah.
was breathing and walking around and doing its thing.
Exactly. And I think he got it pretty well because he's like, but he made the comment. He's like, "Well, you could just we have Publix down here." He's like, "You could just go to Publix and get beef." I was like, "Yeah, but somebody else had to kill that animal. And why am I going to let somebody else do it? That animal didn't live as good a life as this deer." And then I went on and explained like, how the deer got to live a great life. They don't die peacefully. They're going to get ripped apart by coyotes or starve or freeze to death on the mountain. And he was taking it all in. He got it. And he was like, "This is cool. I like it." So he, like I said, after that, he's like every single day, "Hey, are we going hunting? Are we going out?" And because I have freaking YouTube hunting videos nonstop when I have the controller at the TV, he's like, "Are we going to watch hunting? No more of this like, hey, can we watch, Marvel or whatever. It's, are you going to put on that Michael Waddell, like calls him something else, but he's like, "Are you going to watch Bone Collector?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's watch something like that."
That's cool.
It was fun, man. It was good. And the cool part about it was the deer on that property, they use our property kind of like a sanctuary because we're not there all that often.
So they come out and they're like, "Hey, Johnny," that kind of thing.
I think I sent you that video of that last night we were there, and it was like 30 does in the pasture. And I was just like, golly, that's a lot of animals.
Looking at you.
Just staring at us. I was like, ah, dang. I mean, they really didn't know we were there. We were pretty good up against the tree, but Zane kept moving his head. What you got there? I don't know what it is. I can't see it. You're all blurry.
It's water. Oh, you can't read it?
Some sort of water.
Elevate.
Yeah, there you go. No, I can't read it. It's all grainy on my end.
It's a canned water called Elevate. Maybe we ought to reach out to them.
We do.
We're like named almost.
I like that a lot. I just got the old public spring water, but it works. Anyway, so there's tons of buck sign on different areas of the property. And this one section, there's a big, I talked about it before, there's a big power line that runs down the property. There's a lot of scrapes that were on the edge of that power line. And I had my camera freaking died and it fried the SD card, so I can't send you the picture. But on one of them, there's a big 9 that kept coming and hitting that like every morning. And I was like, we got to go sit on this. I dumped a bunch of that like code blue. God dang it. I wish I'd brought it back. I could have showed it to you. It's like the scrape grave digger max or something like that, whatever they call it. It's like the granule stuff. Yeah, it's like a grain. It's almost like if you were to roll up like flour dough, like right before it becomes like bread dough.
Smells like you shoved a tarsal gland up your nose.
Dude, it smells. It's the strongest smelling attractant I've smelled. Let's put it that way. Like,
it's good in the mountains. They can smell it from the next 3 mountains.
Dude, I knew for a fact that the wind had shifted because I could smell it every damn time. I'm like, holy moly. So
I feel like in Florida again when we were chasing deer with our nose. You're like, I can smell a deer.
That's exactly right. Yeah. You could smell. Well, you can. And if you walk by like a thick, a big thicket or something.
It smells like goats in there.
Right. Exactly. It smells like animal, or you'll be like, man, there's definitely hogs in there. You can smell the hog. You know what it smells like. You know what I mean? You can smell the tarsal gland. But anyway, so I had dumped a bunch of that in there, and he was just raking it out every morning. And I'd laid my 300 Win Mag shell across his paw print, his hoof print, and it didn't stretch from side to side. I was like, whoo,
big boy.
This is a big boy. Big bodied, too. I was like, good Lord, that thing's all of 200 pounds. So big for us anyway, up in the mountains. I was impressed. And so we sat on this hickory tree, had like 2 big, what do you call them, trunks coming out of the base. He was on one side, I was on the other, and I see there's like a little hill that we were sitting on. We were sitting like right below the ridge, so that ridge kind of ran to the south of us, and I saw Tynes just kind of like cresting the ridge, almost like skylighting himself.
Now, was Zane with you this time for this hunt?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, he was sitting there, and I was like, hey, Zane, buck's coming. There's a buck coming. And he kids, he was just like, where?
Yeah. Jerking his head around.
Stop moving. Please stop moving. Stop moving. It's like trying to get him like, just relax. And kind of walks down the ridge a little bit to one of the scrapes, starts raking it out, comes down to the scrape where we were at, and he was at 25 yards, I think, and I just put a good shot on him, took the top of his heart off. He ran about 20 yards and fell down the mountain. He actually benefited me a little bit because he fell in like a gully, and the gully kind of goes straight down the mountain towards the barn. And perfect. That's where I do a lot of my cleaning, so I just drug him straight down the mountain to the barn. It was really
rode him down the hill, held on him like a sled.
I was like, oh, thank God you died where you did. He was big body too, so I mean,
yeah, he looked like an older deer. I mean, I only got a couple of pictures that I could see. He looked like an older deer, almost from the one picture I saw. Looked like he was in decline. He had super big bases, and his face looked like he was older too. But again, I only had the one picture of him up close. The others were from the, I guess, from the drone flying around.
Yeah. If you go to our Instagram, Stay Elevated Outdoors, and follow us, you get some cool drone pictures. But I posted a nice video of us all like family gathered around him. Posed, obviously, but it was whatever. It was cool. It was cool to do that in the old Jeep and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, again, the same thing. Zane was stoked. He was like, all right, we're going to clean it now, right? I'm like, yep, let's go. And so got to cleaning it, caped him out. I didn't keep the cape. I just did it just in case.
Yeah.
Just going to do a European mount. Big 7, wider than his ears. He would have been.
He looked like he was probably 16 or 17 inches wide, right?
Yeah, easily. I did like that's about like 7 inches, and I did it twice, and it still had some to go. And I was like, huh, Good.
Yeah,
Good
it
for up
looked like a
there.
really
I was
good.
happy.
I'd be happy with that deer, and I think that's your biggest one from up there, isn't it?
It is.
In
It's not the
mountain
biggest.
country.
I shot a 9-point a couple years ago, but he was young. Shouldn't have shot him, but it was like the first buck on the property, and I was like,
Yeah,
I'm shooting it. And it was bow season, so I was like, yeah, I'm definitely shooting this deer.
that's right.
But yeah, it was sweet, dude. It was fun. It was a good time, and Zane just ate it up. So I can't, absolutely zero complaints. I mean, Kate was an angel watching the baby. She let us go every time I wanted to go, so it was good.
I'm happy that he really wants to go do that with you too, because my kids love it, and I know for a long time you've had to sit and watch me do it because Kelly, he's turning 17, or he just turned 17. He's graduating. Can you believe Kelly's graduating in May?
That it fucking stresses me out because I still remember him on the banks of those little like ponds in the community ponds where he's like
stagecoach.
wiggling his stagecoach, just wiggling his butt with a wacky rigged worm reeling in bass, and I'm just that's how I think of little Kelly. And so the fact that he's graduating high school now, I'm just like that. I'm getting way too old.
Yep. And I remember back then telling you, yeah, man, just got to get you one of these. They follow you around. They go do this stuff with you. It gets exciting. And back then, it was, nah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I was very anti-child
And now
for a long time.
you get to do it. Now you get to see how excited the kids get when they're out there, even just seeing
like
it.
I
They don't
said,
have to
dude.
kill anything. They just,
Dude,
a
it's
lot
like I
of times
said,
they see it.
I was more excited. I was more excited to sit in the woods with Zane than I was to do anything else. I didn't want to kill a deer that last night just because I just wanted him to look at the deer. I mean, there was probably, I shit you not, the video doesn't do it justice. I mean, that whole pasture was ate up with deer. There was at least 30 of them out there. I know that because I counted up to 28 and they were still coming out. I mean, it's last light, but you could still like easily see the yearlings, the litter from this year. They were all like, pawing at each other and playing and jumping around and skipping and doing that thing that yearlings do.
Mhm.
And he gets to watch all that and have a good time. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, it's good to get it
He had
when you
no
want to
problem.
take a kid out, have them on a hunt where they are going to see a lot of stuff too, because a lot of kids will go out and not see anything, and that's not the way to get them hooked. They go out and get bored.
No, it's demoralizing because
Yeah.
it's like
You pulled them away from what they were doing that was fun to them already, and now they're just sitting here in the woods. So
yeah,
you
now they're
always
just
want
bored
to
out
try.
of their mind.
Yeah, you always want to try that. Now, what I do with my kids, because you're gonna have that 2 or 3 hours where you don't have a whole lot. Oh, the lights just went out. Where you don't have a whole lot of action. As I let them bring the device, I use it to my advantage and to their advantage. Let them bring a device out, be on it for a couple of hours if it's an afternoon hunt, and then when it gets close to prime time, I'm like, all right, time to turn it off. I need you to help me look. You look that way. I'm going to look this way. And then they're like, oh,
That's exactly
shit,
what I
okay,
did.
time to go.
Yep. Yeah, and they get locked in because they'll. I mean, I was like, look, dude, you can move a little bit, just move slow. It's windy, just kind of like take your time, scan the area, scan the horizon, and I would just sit there and watch him, and his head would be doing this. For those of you listening, I'm moving my head very slowly back and forth, but he's just
Even
scanning the horizon.
Emmett, when he comes out, I've got those, what are they, Vortex 10x4s, I think, and he is glued to those binoculars the whole time looking around, and he'll tell me he sees stuff. Daddy, birds, birds. When, just to have them get that attentive when they're looking around out there.
I kick myself. I have the same binoculars, the same setup, and they're freaking fantastic glasses, especially for the price point. You can't beat it. And I had them sitting in the garage every single hunt we went on. I freaking forgot them every time. I never did. And I was like, God dang it. That would have been freaking perfect for him to just sit there and, be glued to him, just looking back and forth.
Especially when you had that whole giant herd of deer come out there in the field. That would have been awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're blessed in that it's a target-rich environment. We can go out there pretty much anytime, and you're going to see an animal. It might take you a little bit, but you're going to see something. So we're lucky in that regard. It's unfortunate, like you said, take kids out there on maybe Florida public land or something, and you're not going to see a damn thing for days on end.
Maybe that's why you
So-
see so many people down there get caught baiting on WMAs.
It's very possible.
I was trying to get my kid addicted to it.
It's the 3 R's, man. Just trying to get them retention. What is it? What are those 3 R's? God dang, I can never
I have no
remember.
clue.
Anyway, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Reinforcing the kids in the outdoors, whatever. But yeah, we had a good time. It was fun. So
Cool, man. Yeah, it looked like it was fun. I like seeing the pictures of you guys dragging the deer out. I think it was just the doe that I saw that picture of, but it just looked, you could see in his face he was having a good time.
okay, the video I took is I should post it actually. It was good. It was like a selfie of me, and then I panned to Zane, and it kind of looks like he's like dragging a stick or something, and then I zoom out, and he's helping me. He's got a leg in his hand. He's helping me drag the doe out. It was cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was
That's
having a
pretty
blast.
neat.
I got a couple things to talk about. I watched a video the other day. I can't remember who it was. I don't like to name drop, whatever. But the dude went into this rant about people baiting for deer and how it's cheating and it's not really hunting and all this and all that. And it was just like one thing after the other. You and I know that if we're on a new area, like, all right, for instance, for the Cumberland Island hunt that you do, you have to be a solid outdoorsman to kill anything out there.
That's right.
I would say it's the same thing for public land pretty much anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a solid outdoorsman. You have to be able to read sign. You have to be able to understand wind. You have to be able to understand deer habits, movement patterns, all that stuff, right? I have zero problem with putting corn out. I think that if it's going to increase my odds, I'm going to do it. I think that especially if it's going to increase my, like we just talked about, if it's going to increase my kids' enjoyment of the outdoors, you're fucking right. I'm going to put corn out. I have no problem with it whatsoever. I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. I was thinking along the lines of like, what if you're a blue collar dude and you only have, a couple acres that you can hunt and you only have a Saturday evening that you can hunt? Is that cheating?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I'm for it. So I would prefer to hunt in a place where people don't bait, where there's no corn, because I feel really confident in being able to find where the deer are at, and I think that would give me the edge in a lot of places. But
100%.
But I'm totally okay with people baiting for just that reason. Or like my buddy Rick, who's completely immobile in a wheelchair and has to literally use a joystick.
How the hell is he going to be able to go?
He turns himself around when the deer are feeding on his, on his feeders, turns himself around and then pushes a garage door opener button to shoot his gun. He's got to have that deer standing still. Or like you said, with the kids, or somebody who's just, not in a way where they might be a young guy, but he might not want to walk 2.5 miles. Maybe he just wants to walk out to a stand and get some meat. I don't think it's a problem. Whatever advantage you can take, like cameras. Some people think cameras are bad too. Whatever advantage you can take to give yourself a better opportunity, I'm fine with. If it's going to get you in the woods and it makes you happy and more excited about being out there, then do it.
Do it.
I
Absolutely.
prefer
if it's legal,
not,
then do
but
it.
yeah, I prefer to not. But this year I killed a doe off of a corn pile, and literally it was a corn pile. I went to Jessica's club and they weren't seeing deer, and when they were seeing deer, it was on their feeders at nighttime. And I said, well, I'm going to go off in the woods up here, find a trail, and I'm going to pour out a half a bag of corn or a bag of corn, whatever I had with me, so that I can try to kill a deer and get some meat. Yeah, I hadn't hunted there yet, and that's what I did. I found a spot, put some corn on it, climbed up in a tree, and I got my deer and got to put it in the freezer. And it was the easiest way that I could do it. Got me a big doe to put in the freezer. And sometimes that's okay.
What about that average Joe who literally only has, a weekend to hunt out of the year or whatever because he's working his ass off to provide for his family, and he's only got a couple acres he can do it, and all the deer, they want to stay in the woods or wherever. They want to stay on the neighbor's property or whatever. But he throws some corn out, and now he's got meat in the freezer. I don't see an issue with it. And I think you're splitting hairs there because what about food plots? Is that cheating?
It's just
Plant
it's live.
plant a shit.
It's a live bait site.
Right. Exactly. You plant a shit ton of clover, deer are going to come in there in the wintertime and hammer that clover. What's the difference between that and corn?
No difference.
Yeah, I don't see a difference with it. I just wanted to touch on that real quick. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way, just the way he was going. He was just making this big rant about how, oh, everybody
It's not
hunts
hunting.
from a redneck. Yeah, everybody hunts from like a redneck blind, and there's no scent, and they just open a window. Who cares? If it gets people out in the woods and you're having a good time,
Yep.
who cares?
Whatever makes it fun for you.
Exactly.
7 years ago.
Go ahead.
There's a delay.
Oh, yeah. No, you're good.
6-7 years ago, I wouldn't have felt the same way. I would have been, maybe the same way as this guy is. But I guess just from being out there and seeing how other people have to hunt or prefer to hunt, everybody's got their own way that they want to do it. And really, I just want for us all to be out there and all continue to just have our sport, maybe not even be able to grow our sport, but if we keep losing people because they can't do it a certain way, or they can't get out there because they can't bait anymore, they don't have the woodsmanship, so they're not going to go hunt anymore, then we start losing stuff. We're losing our opportunities to hunt too. We're losing land because they're not spending money to go out there and hunt it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. If it gets you excited and it gets you out in the woods, that's a good way to do it. I take zero issue with it. It was just one of those like, man, I think you're barking up the wrong tree. And what I was about to say was like, I have every confidence in my woodsmanship that I can go out there and shoot an animal without corn. But that's not the point. I want to go out there and have a good time with my son. I want to go out there and harvest some does, and I want to do it in a timely manner in which I can get back and help with the baby and help with stuff at the house and all that stuff. I'll get off my soapbox, I guess. This has come up. I've heard it in a couple podcasts recently. What season do you prefer to shoot does? And I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. I'm just curious what your take is on it. As far as you shoot them later in the season, obviously they might be gravid. Shoot them earlier in the season, they might have a spotted fawn you didn't see. I don't know. I hadn't really given it a whole lot of thought, to be honest with you. I'm very pro shooting does because A, freezer queens are delicious, and B, I want to get my doe numbers to a reasonable level to where, I get more bucks coming in. So I was just curious what you thought about that.
Well, a lot of people will say shoot your does early because if you shoot them late, you're killing 3 deer. But if you kill them in September, they weren't going to get pregnant anyway.
Right.
So essentially, you're still wiping out 3 deer. What's the difference?
Right.
I don't want to kill them in the rut, normally because I'm letting them walk. I want to see if a big buck's going to come behind them.
Yeah, exactly. You're looking for a buck at that point.
And I prefer to not have to shoot them late season because I don't really want to be gutting a deer and have, and see the babies. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting soft, but I don't like having to do that. But I'll do it. I mean, this week I'm going. It's the last week. I'm going to try to put 2 or 3 in the freezer. I mean,
do you remember?
Got to do what I got to do.
Just
Are you going to talk about my pig?
Yes, I was. I was about to say, do you remember that hog you shot?
First of all, your message right after I shot.
Oh, God.
Well, I hit the release and spine it, and it starts screaming.
Well, all right, this is a great story all around just because of what happened with that hog anyway, like with you in the stand. Wasn't this the one where like, yeah, okay. Go into
you want
that.
me to tell it? All right. So
yeah, screw it. Tell it.
So we're hunting in a WMA in Florida, and I'm videotaping these things too, but I have the old video camcorder that you put the belt around your hand and it opens up, with the I guess the screen facing it, but it'll twist around. So I don't have I don't have a tripod or anything like that. So I've got it on the other side of my hand holding my bow with the thing flipped around. So I'm holding camcorder, bow, everything in this hand. And I shoot and it's straight down underneath me and I spine this hog. Bless you.
Thank you.
I spine this hog and it starts screaming. I mean, squealing as loud as it can. And you text me immediately and said, it better be small. Because just a week earlier, we had to drag your 250-pound hog like 1.5 miles, which I'll never do for you again.
And we were even further back than we were then.
Yeah, we were twice as far this time.
Dude, it was a freaking hike, but it was
Yep.
smaller.
Yeah.
So I wasn't
So
too mad
it was
about it.
probably 80 or 90-pound hog, but I shot it, and it's screaming. All the other hogs scurry away, and then it starts screaming even louder, and they come back, and they have this pissed off, like all their hairs are bristled up. They're grunting and just like anger. I've never heard it before. It's scaring the crap out of me. I think they're gonna eat me. Like I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna get me. I'm 25 foot up in a tree. They're not gonna get me. I just thought they were because I've never seen anything do this. I'm freaking out. And I've got it all on video. I hope I still have that somewhere. That would be cool if I could find that footage. But
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
yeah, but so they finally run off. I get down. I don't have a good knife. I'm trying to stick this thing to kill it because it's spine, and I finally, I'm able to lift its leg
I
up,
could
and I
hear
stick
every
it under
time
the
you
armpit.
stick it because it's like it'll be
It
quiet for a
starts
second,
squealing
and then you
again.
must stick it. It's like reed, reed. Like, oh god,
It was awful. I felt terrible, but
it was
shit
like a
happens.
pork barn or something. It's like
And
when you
then,
go to the fair and all the pigs are in the fair and they're just all like
Yeah.
Lord,
And then we
stop that nonsense.
then we went to field dress it because we had to carry it so far, and there were like 11 pretty well grown babies in it.
They were pretty well formed.
Oh, man, I mean they were little piglets about this big.
I didn't feel too bad about it though because at the end of the day, it was a hog, and
Yeah.
those things just breed like wildfire. So
Oh yeah, I killed 12 hogs that day and felt great about it. But it does feel a little different. Feels a little different with deer though.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I take the stance that I like to shoot does later in the season for a couple of reasons. You shoot them a little bit later, they have been packing on fat.
Yep, they're heavier
all year, all summer, all fall long, and that doe that we cut up it was like we were cutting up a hog, dude. I mean, it had like an inch of fat cap on its back. I was like, good Lord, this thing is well fed. So it's just, they're not, skinny little raily animals that you feel bad for them. They're big, meaty deer. And it's like, yes, this is going to taste delicious. And it did.
Yeah. To
sure.
give an idea of the best time for meat that we want to kill them here, or that I want to kill them for that same size, you get a really heavy deer, you get good fat on them. It's after the rut. So our rut here is pretty similar to what it is normal in the rest of the country. So you're early November. So just to give an idea of what time frame in the rut that I want to kill them, first 3 weeks of December, that's when I want to try to kill as many does as I can. That's the best time frame for me.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. What you said you cooked dinner tonight. I assumed you cooked venison, but I probably shouldn't make that assumption.
Not tonight. No, we actually I didn't even have to cook tonight. We had chicken Alfredo. No, we had a Mississippi roast the other night though, and that was venison, and that was good. I learned that from you. Yeah, it was delicious. All the kids like it.
Yeah, pretty much any venison roast, like on that back ham hock, even the shoulder. You could do the shoulder, the neck roast.
The neck is the best. We did that. That was the best one.
Yeah. Yeah, the neck. I feel like the neck always gets tossed, and it's such a shame because that is such a big cut of meat, and you can do so many different roasts with it. But man, Mississippi pot roast with that is my favorite. Get you some pepperoncinis. I'll throw in some onions in there, and ranch and au jus, and just let that thing cook for 6 hours on low in the crock pot, and the whole house smells like heaven when you walk in. Yeah. What is your go-to though?
My go-to venison dish.
Yeah.
Man, it's a toss-up. I like butterfly in the backstrap and doing just steak, and they're almost like little medallion filet mignon, and just cooking them with salt, pepper, garlic on the grill. But it's a toss-up between that and country fried steak. Venison.
I was going to say country fried steak.
Make cube steak out of the venison and eat that.
Yep.
I honestly couldn't tell you which one is my favorite. It'll just, if I'm eating it that night, it's my favorite that night.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, just for ease of cooking, backstrap, just like you said, filet mignon style. It's just so easy. You just hit it on the grill for like a couple minutes and it's done basically. A little Everglades seasoning, can't go wrong.
About 133 internal temperature is the best.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. 130, right in there in the 130 range, and you're setting yourself up for success.
Yeah.
And but then absolutely cube steak.
Stir up a little blood in your mashed potatoes.
Dude, 100%. Absolutely. And dude, we did mashed potatoes, mac and cheese. I think we did broccoli. No, it was New Year's, so we did what is it? Black eyed peas and collard greens, and venison steak, and it was absolutely phenomenal. You can't beat it.
We did a catch and cook for New Year's. We went down to the lease and we caught all those bass. The club president's been asking us to take a bunch of the little buck bass out for the last several years because there's so many fish in the lake. So we, between 7 of us, we caught 17 bass, kept 12, brought them home and cooked them. And we did our New Year's, food too. We did fish, which isn't part of it, but fish, collards, black-eyed peas, and then for the cornbread, we had hush puppies. So we still
Nice.
had our cornbread.
Nice.
It was
nice.
a catch and cook.
What
man.
What casting black?
Just had everybody throwing a wacky rig. Her kids haven't fished a whole lot. They've fished some, but haven't fished a whole lot. But I think neither one of them had. I know that Gavin hadn't caught bass before, and I assume Logan hadn't either. And both of them caught a few. And Gavin, I think he had 6 fish and caught 3 or 4, and was real excited about it. My kids, they all caught 3 or 4. And Jessica does not. She's laughing because she's like, "Here I come. He's going to mention me." She, the first time I went down there, I had to cast and get her to fish. She would not fish. Didn't like it. Well, just wasn't excited about it. Yeah, she just wasn't excited about it. Caught a couple, though.
And she's
I was like,
dating someone who used to do bass and redfish tournaments.
Yeah. So the first cast, I'm like, all right, hold this. You're about to catch a fish. It was one of those days where I just cast it out and I knew she was going to. I handed it to her and her line's taking off. She's reeling a bass in. Gets that one in, won't touch the fish. I'm like, oh, for God's sakes, one of those. Won't touch it. I'm like, all right, well, you're going to catch another one. So I cast it out. I said, you're going to have to wiggle this one a couple times. She wiggles it a couple times, catches another bass. Yeah. So this time we go down, everybody's catching fish, and I think I casted it out for her, and she hooked it the first one, and she gets it in, and I make her hold the fish. But she doesn't want to. And she's just barely holding it by the lip, and taking a picture like, I don't want to. She's like shaking. I don't want to hold it anymore. I want to hold it anymore. And I think a couple of fish later, we were all the way at the end of the dam. Just to give perspective, it's like 100 yards, 120 yards down the dam from one end to the other, and we had the stringer on the camper side of the dam. We were on the far side of the dam. And I told her, I'm like, I'm not walking it back. If you want to eat it, you got to walk it back. So she's walking back all the way down the dam holding this bass like this. So all the kids start asking for food. It's time to eat lunch. And she's fishing still. She's like, I'm still fishing. I'm like, well, I'll take care of lunch. She was so excited catching fish. She just kept fishing. And Kelly stayed out there with her, my oldest. And she caught another bass. And he was not as forgiving as me. He wouldn't get the fish out of the water. He made her hold it lip and belly.
Nice.
And made her carry it to where it was going to go. He's like, I'm not doing anything for you. You're going to do it. You're going to grab that fish. She's like, I need your help. He's like, no, I'm not doing that for you. You do it. If you want to fish, you're going to unhook it too. And he made her try to unhook it, but she couldn't get the hook. You didn't get the hook out, did you? No. She couldn't get the hook out, but she, then I got a picture from her while I'm riding around with Cade because Rick had us out putting corn out for him at his spots. And she sends me a picture of her holding this bass like this, and I'm like, I didn't take that picture. She just did that now. And I get back, and she's like, yeah, Kelly made me do it. He's not as nice as you, but now I can do it. And then she casted her worm forward and then backwards into the woods somehow in the same exact cast, and we lost everything. But
that's impressive.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, it was fun, man. It was a fun family day down there, catch and cook. Everybody caught fish. It was cold as could be. So I totally had no expectations when we went out, but all the kids had a good time. Emmett got to touch the fish, but he was more interested in playing in the mud, but he got to do that. Just a great time at the hunting camp and, catching fish and getting her hooked. Now she wants to buy a boat. She's like, we're going again. I want to buy a boat. We're getting a boat. I'm like, oh, okay,
yeah.
cool.
Skeeter's running a deal right now. I think it's like 4.9% APR. Just saying.
Can't afford a $70,000 boat. However, she wants a boat so bad that she's applying for jobs, and she said she's going to be my new sugar mama.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sounds about right.
I'm gonna have me a what is it, the low. I'm gonna have me a low 1490 or 1480 here soon. 14 foot.
That's all you need. That's all you need. That's what we got. We got that little 18-footer. It's a
trolling motor
and
a 12
I think, actually
12 volt battery.
Dude, we got that 93 Johnson on the back, 50 horse. Thing cranks over every time. Love that boat.
You can't kill that thing.
Dude, the carbs are so easy to clean on that thing. I just pull them right. It's a funny story. So I pulled the carbs off just recently to give them a little rundown, just clean them out and everything. I put it all back together. I could not get this bastard to start. I'm like, what in the hell is going on with these carbs? They just keep
kill switch
flooding. Dude, I tried everything. Kill switch. I tried spraying some starter fluid in there. It would and that just die out. It was flooding. So, dude, I literally just kept a socket on the spark plugs just ready to go, just to pull them off and dry them out, air it out. I could not figure out what was going. It took me half the afternoon, and I was like, I looked at it and I'm sitting there staring at it. I'm like, you idiot. You put the hoses on wrong. The intake was on the how does it go? The intake was too high. It needed to be down in the bottom into the bowl, and I had them backwards basically. And so it was just flooding the motor every single time I would turn it on. Literally just reverse those hoses, turn the key,
like a champ.
Starts right up. I'm like, it's the cleanest motor. It's the cleanest 93 Johnson that you will ever see right now. I guarantee it.
Yep.
So
I think the one I had on the Redneck Tower boat was a 91, and man, that thing got clocked at 52 miles an hour in that Redneck Tower.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
16-foot tunnel hole with a tower on it, aluminum boat.
Yeah. Ours isn't a tunnel; it's flat bottom, but it shits and gets when it gets up and going. I'll tell you what, the rivets in it are starting to go. I think because I'll get have a float switch bilge pump at the bottom.
Yeah.
And 3 or 4 hours into the fishing trip, you'll hear that thing kick in and it's just pumping out water, and it just accumulates water in the bottom. I can't figure out where from. I've literally
time to go around and weld some rivets.
Dude, I've filled it up with water. Put the plug in on the trailer, filled it up with water, and I'll get down underneath it and look for any leaks. Nothing. I'm like, it's got to be coming from somewhere. I can't figure it out. So I don't know, but whatever. The bilge pump does a good job. That's all I care about. So
that's right.
What else you got? You got anything? What are you up to in the next couple of weeks?
Other than it being not the best duck season this year for us, we killed one duck. It was really pretty drake wood duck. Yeah, we had we got cut off. It wasn't. I mean, the guys they weren't doing it intentionally, but we had ducks all in our ponds just like last year. And on Christmas Eve, we woke up to people shooting like crazy in the next pond up, which isn't our property, and we didn't see any more ducks. So me and Kelly went out twice. The first morning we had a chance at 6 ducks, and I pulled the trigger once and knocked down one. He didn't pull the trigger at all. I was waiting for him to shoot the whole time, and he just, first time out there that year, and this year, and he was waiting for him to be closer, and they just never gave him the best shot. So
was he using his new gun?
He had his new gun, which pattern's great. It shoots really good. He shoots it really good. It actually has less recoil than mine. Feels really good when he's holding it. But he didn't.
I assume.
Yeah, but he didn't get to shoot it at anything other than just target practicing on it. But he loves it. He loves it. He wants to keep it black too. I asked him if he wanted me to put a skin on it or something like that, camo skin, but he likes it black. He says it's more like tactical looking, so he likes that. But yeah. So I saw one. I shot at one duck, killed one duck, and they had all been shot at so many times that morning already that it was like 60 yards to my left, and it hit the water like 80 yards to my right. So I'm swinging like this, boom, super fast.
Just like a dove shoot, just flying through there.
Oh, and it buried into the mud too. Like its head was totally in the mud. I had to wash it off in the water and all to get it out.
Thing was
but
doing 50 miles an hour.
It was cooking. So, props to myself, I guess, for being a deadeye or just getting lucky. But
Hey,
we didn't get a whole lot of other opportunity after that. We went 3 mornings later and saw 12 ducks fly out of range.
What are the odds that somebody listened to this podcast and they were like, I know exactly where that is?
Yeah. I know that Kelly Brookins. He's right down the road from me.
I'm going to go
And
shoot
then
those
Kelly
ducks.
went out. He went out by himself and set up and he said he was right next to the beaver lodge. And he said he thought the beaver was outside, but when he was standing next to the beaver lodge, he could hear it inside of the lodge, and it sounded like it was snoring.
No way.
And I've heard them swimming around by me out there before when I'm walking through the water, so he could hear it in the lodge. It was pretty cool. But he had a couple of ducks fly out of range, and he had 2 geese fly. I could see the geese from the back porch, and I'm like, oh my God, he's about to get to shoot a goose. And they were right above the tree line, and he's like, I just thought they were too high, Dad. I'm like, son, you can shoot 40 yards with that load, with that shotgun, no problem. And those trees are not 40 yards tall. And he said they flew right over top of me, Dad. And geese fly so freaking slow.
Right.
He didn't do it.
Going overhead. Just
Yeah.
Dang, that would have been sweet if he'd shot a goose. That'd have been cool.
Yeah. But so
I was about to,
waterfowl season wasn't that great for us, but we had fun out there. But nothing other than that.
Every time you talk about that damn beaver, it ignites this like passion in me because I want to do it so bad. I want to get into trapping, and I want to go out there and just like set some traps and catch a couple of those beavers and have like a nice beaver throw pillow or something.
Well, you saw that great big ass one that I caught a couple of years ago, right? It was like 60-something pounds.
Dude, monster beaver. And I'm like, that throw pillow would look so sick on my couch. Like, I want it bad, dude. I want to go out there and start trapping so hard. I just haven't been able to dive into it yet.
They're cheap to buy traps. I caught him in a foothold trap with a drowning cable. I just took a block out there and ran the cable to it, and it's like a one-way swivel thing or something like that. Yeah, they swim down
it works
with the
down
trap,
and they can't get back up,
and then it can't come back up. But yeah, I just kicked the spot out of the dam and put the foothold trap kind of not up on top of the dam, but where its back feet would have been. And it's while it was, that's what everybody said to do. When they bring stuff up with their mouth and feet, they put it there, and then they're kicking their back feet, around, and they'll step on the trap. And that's exactly what he did. And it was the first day. I put it out that afternoon. Next morning, we had a beaver in the trap.
Dude, I want to do a caster mount set so bad. I just want to like just to see the beavers like get all territorial over it and stuff, and they smell another beaver in there, and they get up on there, and they're like, just have them snapping that. But my goal is I would love to get like a nice conibear or something, and like have them swim through it, and just the full body grip, bam, just catch them like that.
Have a camera over it.
Yeah, something like that. It just brings out like a mountain man mentality in me. I want to do it so bad, dude.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Well, we might have to do that here soon.
I got plenty of them. Bring some traps.
Dude. All right. We're pushing our time limit here. What else you got?
I've got About to Die Tinnitus still. I know I'll be more fired up in the next podcast. Hopefully I can get rid of this crap and hack it out. This week's last week of gun season, so I'm going to try to knock down 2 or 3. It's not brown, it's down, but it's as close as you can get without it being brown.
It's damn near it.
Damn near it. And then I got 2 weeks of extended archery that I'm going to do too. So just some deer hunting over the next 3 weeks, and then it gets into getting ready for
turkey
season. And
yes,
to wrap it up here and maybe get ready for next podcast, I have decided to start loading my own shotgun shells and hand loading some TSS. So might be able to show you some of that maybe here in the next couple of podcasts. If
This
my
shed I'm in,
if my sugar mama if my sugar mama will help me get some of the components for it.
the shed I'm in was purpose built. It's actually like everything over there, the workbench over there is purpose built for my grandfather-in-law to hand load his shot shells. That's all he
That's
did.
awesome.
He would go hand load his shot shells and run up to Tampa Bay Sporting Clays and blast them away. Great stuff. I'm down to learn about that.
My goal is to load my own shot shells and kill a bird with them this year.
Still got them. There's like,
are those paper?
Probably. No.
It's real. For some reason, it's blurry on my end. I can't. Are they 2.5 inch?
Yeah. No, they're 2 3/4. It's been a while since I've been in my shotguns.
That's okay. But that's my goal. I'm going to
2
load some and try to kill a turkey with it this year. That'll just, be another cool thing.
That'd be sweet.
But
we need to get in the woods and turkey hunt together.
Yep. I put in for my my quotas, so I showed you which ones.
Yeah, I saw that.
Showed you which ones I'm doing. Hopefully doing.
I put in for them as well. I hope I get one of them. That'd be sweet. You can take a guess though, can't you?
I think I can. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Maybe
all right.
one of us
if you
will
haven't
video
already,
or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, we need. Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about that. If you haven't already, hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, Stay Elevated Outdoors. Follow us on YouTube. We'd really appreciate it. Anyway, good podcast, man. Thanks for the conversation. Always a pleasure.
It's been fun, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go take some legal drugs and try to shake this cold. And see you next time.
I like it. Thanks for listening, everybody. Happy New Year.
See ya.